Yo. Analytics off the chain, other channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game. I'm a headliner.
Yo, what is going on, Headliner Nation? Welcome back to the Fantasy Headliners. Kyle here to break down today's video all about risk versus reward. Again, a little bit of a mini series I'm doing right now on the riskiest players at each position. Did these videos last year based on my risk score and then talked about where guys finished. So how many times did you finish as a top blank option or a top blank option at your position? Then a number is assigned to you. We divide it by your total number of games played, and then we get risk score to tell us, based on those finishes last season, how risky are you really as a quarterback? So do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to be giving away a draft guide during this video, so hit the like button. We need 1,000 likes to give away a draft guide, so hit the like button, and I will tell you a little bit later on in the show what you need to comment with down below in order to be eligible for that draft guide. But I want to remind everybody, you can just order your draft guide right now, and if you want a free one, we'll refund you. Link down below to thefantasyheadliners.com. And during the month of July, if you order your Fantasy Headliners draft guide, you're going to be entered into a drawing to win a full-sized throwback autographed Aaron Jones Packers helmet. It is absolutely beautiful. You are not going to want to miss this. A great piece of memorabilia from our friends over at Pristine Auction. So you can create an account over there for free using code word headliners, and then make sure you purchase your draft guide. Then you'll get in on that drawing and you'll have an opportunity to win that helmet. But enough of all that. We got to dive into it. Today's all about the quarterback. So we're going to be taking a look at the quarterbacks and a little bit differently. If you watch the running back video where we talked about top 12, 24, and 36, at the quarterback position, we're only talking about top 6, top 12, and then outside of the top 12. Because unless you play in a Superflex or 2 QB league, we're looking for top 12 finishes. So that's what we're going to focus on today. Let's jump into the numbers and take a look at it. For the quarterback position, let's go ahead and sort this out and see who finished as a top 6 quarterback the most this past season. We're going to go here to sort range in our handy dandy. What do we do? Get column D in our handy dandy spreadsheet here. Tom Brady last season, 9 finishes as a top 6 quarterback. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, 7. So Tom Brady actually had more top 6 finishes than Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen being taken as the 22nd overall player and Patrick Mahomes taking as the 30th overall player this season. Tom Brady, the 85th overall player. Wow. Look at that. 2 more games as a top 6 quarterback, and they're being taken several spots ahead of Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, Herbert, Prescott, Rodgers, all of them with 6 finishes as a top 6 quarterback. Hurts and Stafford with 5 top 6 finishes. Murray and Cousins with 4. Jackson and Burrow with 3. 2 to Wilson, Carr, and Winston. 1 to Fields, Tua, and Ryan. Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Ryan Tannehill, Trevor Lawrence. No finishes last season as a top 6 quarterback. Couple of things to mention real quick before we move even further. Number 1, these are the top 24 quarterbacks based on current average draft position. So this is based on where they're currently being drafted for 2022 leagues. And also, for some reason or another, I'm using the points information from Fantasy Pros, and they don't include week 18 for whatever reason. So everyone's going to have one less game in here just because they just left out week 18. I talked about in the running back video. I don't agree with it. Whatever. Not my site. Who cares? Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about the top 12 finishes. So this is now everyone that finished as a top 7 to top 12 quarterback and what that meant for them this season. And we'll see how many we had there. Kyler Murray finished as a top 12 quarterback 6 times. 5 times for Rodgers, Hurts, Burrow, Carr. Derek Carr and Mac Jones. Again, a really large discrepancy here. I mean, if you take a look, and now I'm not going to disagree with where he's being drafted because I love Joe Burrow, but this is more of an indication of how Derek Carr gets absolutely no love. Last season, Derek Carr, Joe Burrow, they played the same amount of games. Burrow only had one more game inside the top 6 that Carr had. Burrow had the same amount of top 12 finishes as Carr, and Carr had one more finish outside the top 12 than what Burrow had. And Burrow's being taken 50 spots ahead of Derek Carr. I mean, now, granted, I agree with it because Burrow has Jamar Chase, has T. Higgins, has Tyler Boyd, has Joe Mixon, has a good offensive line. I mean, and is just, in my opinion, a superior quarterback. But it's just an indication on how much hate Derek Carr gets. I mean, Derek Carr's got Devontae Adams. He's got Hunter Renfrow. He's got Darren Waller. So he's got a good trio of pass catchers. Josh Jacobs, if you watch the running back video, I mean, he doesn't get enough love as well. Offensive line, I mean, could be better. But again, it's just one of those things where, does Derek Carr really deserve to go 50 spots after Joe Burrow? I don't think so, man. 4 top 12 finishes for Allen, Mahomes, Prescott, Stafford, and Wilson. 3 for Herbert, Cousins, Jackson, Wilson, and Tannehill. 2 for Fields and Lawrence. 1 for Brady, Tua, and Ryan. And 0 for Jameis Winston. Now, Jameis Winston only had 7 games last year, so of course his numbers are going to be skewed a little bit more. But Tom Brady, a lot of top 6 finishes. It would have been nice if some of these others translated into top 12s. If that could have happened, if he could have taken 2 or 3 games and turned them from outside top 12 to top 12 performances, he may have had the lowest risk score of any quarterback this season. That's how close he was. So do not skip on him, especially in those later rounds if you skip on the quarterback position. Let's go ahead and take a look at others. So again, these are times that a quarterback finished outside the top 12, which means in a 12-team 1 QB league, these quarterbacks were basically useless during that time. So let's take a quick peek here. Trevor Lawrence, Matt Ryan, both with 14 games outside the top 12. Tannehill with 13, Mac Jones with 11, Tua with 10, Carr had 9 with Wilson and Fields. Burrow had 8 with Cousins. Stafford, Wilson, and Herbert had 7. Lamar Jackson and Tom Brady had 6. Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Jameis Winston with 5. Rodgers with 4. And lo and behold, Kyler Murray, even though we saw a little dip in performance later on in the season, only 3 games outside the top 12 last season. So let's go ahead and undo all of this and put our risk score up on the podium here. And Aaron Rodgers led the way. And I think we know that, right? I think we know that Aaron Rodgers, probably one of the safest quarterbacks in all of football last year, finished with a 2.13 risk score. But right below that, Kyler Murray coming in with a risk score of 2.15, just barely beating out Allen, Mahomes, and Brady, who all tied with a 2.18. Kyler Murray right now being taken at 58 overall. And this is one of the reasons why I can't justify drafting Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes super early. Because if you wait, you're going to be able to get a guy like Kyler Murray. You're going to be able to get a guy like Aaron Rodgers. You're going to be able to get a guy like Tom Brady. You're going to be able to get all of these guys a little bit later on, not spend nearly the draft capital on them, be able to use that draft capital to fortify your running back and wide receiver position, which is much more difficult to replace throughout the season than a quarterback. That just makes sense to me. That you would do that. So in the comments below, if you want a chance to win a draft guide, again, we need 1,000 likes on this video. But not only that, you got to comment below and you need to tell me, who would you rather have at their given ADP right now? Allen, Mahomes, Murray, Rodgers, or Brady? Take a look at the ADPs, take a look at the names and where they finished. Based on their current ADP, which one of those quarterbacks would you rather have right now and why? Leave a comment down below. I'm going to pick one random winner to get a draft guide if we get to 1,000 likes on the video. Dak Prescott, amazingly enough, came in with a 2.26, just barely missed here being included with those top options. Jalen Hurts just barely beating out Justin Herbert. A lot of that has to do with how many rushing touchdowns and how many rushing yards he had last season. Justin Herbert, I would expect some of these games outside the top 12 to translate into the top 12 this year. There's a good chance that next year we're standing here in the same spot or sitting, depending on what you're doing right now. And we talk about Justin Herbert as one of the safest options based on, again, better utilization of the offensive line, pass catching weapons there. Just that entire team taking another step forward this year. 100%. Matthew Stafford, Lamar Jackson, Kirk Cousins, Joe Burrow finishing with a 2.81 was very surprising given the fact that everybody wants his players. Everybody wants Jamar Chase in the first round. You want T. Higgins later on in the second, maybe third. Tyler Boyd is a great late round pick right now. Joe Mixon is going in the first inning. They've upgraded the offensive line. So given all that information, it's crazy to see that last season Joe Burrow was here at a 2.81. Russell Wilson obviously in a much better situation. He's coming in at a 2.92. Much better weapon. I don't want to say much better weapons, but he's in a better situation with good weapons, with weapons that at least rival. And then when you take a look at the run game, maybe exceed a little bit what you saw in Seattle. So Russell Wilson putting himself in a great situation this year. I would expect that number to climb a little bit for him. We talked about Derek Carr quite a bit already. His three, obviously a little bit on the lower side in terms of what we want, but some of those nines that we see there under other, again, with a Devontae Adams this year, maybe throwing the ball a little bit more, a more competitive AFC West, meaning that they're going to have to throw more. We could see some of those nines quickly turn into top 12 and top 6 finishes, which would make that score better. Jameis Winston, is Michael Thomas going to be healthy this year? I mean, his score obviously not great, but he was in very limited time last year, so I don't want to hold that against him too much. Mac Jones and Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Tua, Ryan Tannehill, Matt Ryan, Trevor Lawrence, obviously Lance and Deshaun Watson being left out. They didn't have scores from last year. Lance played in a few games, but that's not fair to throw those numbers in there, so I left him out. And if you take a look at it, second-year quarterbacks, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence. Can all of them take a step forward in terms of their gameplay? Some of them are in decent situations. Some of them are in not good situations. So what is going to come from all of that? Tua, can he take another step forward in year 3 with now adding Tyreek Hill there, having another full season with Jalen Waddle? They've upgraded the running back position a little bit. Ryan Tannehill, he would be the one I'm most scared about here just because now you've lost A.J. Brown and Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith and back-to-back-to-back seasons. I'm not really interested in trying to utilize a guy that is going to be in a run-heavy offense. Yes, he's going to make some of those guys around him fantasy viable in terms of Robert Woods and Treylon Burks, but his overall scores on a weekly basis don't necessarily mean, hey, because Burks and Woods do well, just doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be a fantasy viable guy every single week. So there you go. There's the risk scores for the quarterback position. Like I said a few minutes ago, take a look at some of those top options with Rodgers, Murray, Allen, Mahomes, and Brady. Out of those guys, who are you drafting? Based on their ADP, who are you drafting? And leave a comment with all that information down below because I'm going to pick somebody if the video gets to 1,000 likes to win a free draft guide. But you can order your draft guide right now at thefantasyheadliners.com. The link is down below. Make sure you grab that solid information and you've got it to dominate your drafts this year. But ladies and gentlemen, I've got to get out of here. Everybody stay safe and healthy. Hopefully all of you have a great 4th of July holiday. I'll see you all on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.
Analytics off the chain, other channels not the same. Jake and Kyle, you know the name. Headliner Nation, we running the game. Y'all stuck on 3rd down. Your content's plain Jane. Headliners on top now. We gonna move and change. Podcast off the rip. Draft guide, so legit. Fantasy world, our game tight. We about that chubb life. Stuck in a rut and you need some motivation. Head to the channel for this Headliner Nation. I'm a headliner.